Friends, there have only been a few moments in our nation's history that have had enough jarring force to impact our collective consciousness. And Charlie Kirk's assassination was one of those moments. As I look around here today, I understand the grief we're all experiencing. I understand our collective shock, our outrage, even our fear. Like all of you, I grieve for Charlie Kirk's family, and I'm horrified to see those who are celebrating murder. Like all of you, I am concerned for the future of this country and our state. And my concern is based on a culture of death that has infiltrated every aspect of our society. Death has been celebrated in this nation for far too long. And we have stood by watching, mostly in silence, as the worship of death has gained followers. Life is too precious to sit on the sidelines any longer. The stakes for our freedom of speech have never been higher. Speaking truth in the public square is our God-given right, and yet there are many who fear to speak the truth, share their beliefs, or engage in civil discourse. Socrates is often credited with saying, when the argument is lost, slander becomes the tool of the loser. And for years, this was all you risked when you were speaking the truth or sharing your opinions. Someone might call you a bad name. Still, for some, the fear of being called a bigot or a Nazi or a racist, that was enough to prevent you from exercising that God-given right to speak the truth. Still, there were trailblazers like Charlie Kirk who did not fear the name-calling. So when opponents of free speech couldn't stifle that freedom by hurling insults, they resorted to cancel culture and the woke mob. They threatened people's livelihoods if they refused to curtail their speech to conform with political correctness. The woke mob and the cancel culture failed too. And because that failed, slander has been replaced with violence. And we saw how the stakes were raised 2 days ago on a college campus in Utah. Charlie dedicated his life to awakening this generation, to stand, to speak, to refuse to be silent in the face of a cultural, moral, and spiritual collapse. And now, in his absence, that responsibility is placed squarely on our shoulders. More than 200 years ago, George Washington delivered his Newburgh Address and prophetically warned of the consequences of a world without free speech. He said, if men are precluded from offering their sentiments on a matter which may involve the most serious and alarming consequences, reason is of no use to us. If freedom of speech be taken away, dumb and silent may we be led like sheep to the slaughter. This warning is not confined to history. It speaks to us now. To be silenced, to be cowed into submission by threats of violence, by ridicule, or even by death, is to be led, dumb and silent, to destruction. Charlie never accepted silence, and neither should we. But we must not meet hatred with hatred. We must not respond to violence with violence. Romans 12 provides the playbook for every generation that longs to be faithful in the midst of chaos. We are called not to be conformed to this world, to cling to what is good, to use our gifts in service, to bless those who persecute us. We are commanded to never repay evil with evil, to leave vengeance to the Lord, to not be overcome by evil, but to overcome evil with good. This is the narrow path of courage and conviction. It's the path that Charlie chose, and it's the path that we all must walk together. Let me be clear. This is a call to action. For this generation, this is not the time for retreat. It is not the time to shrink back into the shadows of fear. And let me tell you what I mean. Do we have the courage to proclaim simple truths like, there are only two sexes, male and female. Life begins at conception and should be protected. Marriage and children are more important than your career. God is real. Sin has consequences. Truth is absolute, not relative. You see, free speech does not mean speech that won't offend anyone. And this is the moment to speak truth, even more boldly than before. This is our moment to engage in conversations, especially with those who might disagree with our opinions. This is the moment to stand even more courageously for life amidst this culture of death, this worship of death. We must stand for life, for freedom, for truth, for the gospel of Jesus Christ, which is the only hope in this broken world. So we do not glory in death. We do not celebrate the shedding of innocent blood. Instead, we declare victory of life over death, of light over darkness, of truth over lies. Charlie's voice may be stilled, but his mission lives, his vision lives. His fight for truth has been entrusted to all of us. So I ask you, this generation, will you stand? Will you speak? Will you love your enemy? Resist conformity to the world? Will you overcome evil with good? Will you carry forward the legacy of Charlie Kirk, not by mourning alone, but by multiplying his efforts? If we do this, his life, his message, and his example will not be lost. So let us be resolved that we will take up the charge to be a generation that will not bow to fear, who will not remain silent, who will stand firm for truth, for freedom, and for God. That is our charge. That is Charlie's legacy. And by God's grace, we will fulfill it.